cheetah after all.
See, India is a very populous country. To find space which is large enough to hold viable populations of cheetah is not easy. But the major threat to the extinction of the cheetah has been addressed. It was primarily hunting and collection for private collections, for having animals, coursing wildlife. That threat is gone. The Wildlife Protection Act is in place, which prevents all kinds of hunting in the country. We have good protected areas which are large enough to have populations of cheetah within them. And the tiger serves as a flagship of forested ecosystems. But there are vast areas which are dry, deciduous, open forest systems which don't have tigers, and they lack a flagship species, a charismatic species which attracts funding for the restoration. And along with the cheetah restoration, the whole ecosystem would be restored, because inputs would go in terms of finances, in terms of reducing human pressures and building up of prey species. So a multitude of species would benefit out of it. And at the end of the day, you would have better ecosystem services which will benefit the communities living around those areas. So it's a holistic project which integrates the introduction of the cheetah with ecosystem restoration. Yeah, the first site where we're planning to take the cheetah is Kuno National Park, and Kuno was prepared for the last 20 years for the reintroduction of the Asiatic lion. And the lions have not yet come to Kuno. The reasons are myriad and many, but it's also an ideal habitat for the cheetah as well. So when you have a habitat which is already restored and ready, people have moved out to give space to lions in an incentivized voluntary relocation program, where the government of India pays about $22,000 per person, adult in the family, to move out of the park. And it's an incentive which most people can't resist. They take this opportunity and go for better livelihood options, join the mainstream society instead of living within forests. So an area of about 750 square kilometers, human-free, has been created, declared as a national park. And the incentive for managing this would be greatly reduced by the park managers if a reintroduction of a large carnivore was not done in such an area. So waiting for the lions for 20 years, it's best to bring in something else if it's not going to happen. And so the cheetah fills in the void there. And we're bringing in the cheetah there right now. That does not negate the possibility of the future to bringing in lions at all, because cheetahs and lions have coexisted in the past in India, and they coexist today in Africa. We don't have tigers in that landscape, but it is connected to Ranthambore, which is a very good tiger reserve. So there's the potential of tigers dispersing into Kuno area very much there. So it would be probably the only place in the world where we have tigers, lions, cheetahs and leopards coexist, 4 large cats, 4 large carnivores in the same area. It would be unique. It would be a fantastic opportunity to study interactions between these carnivores and see how they manage to survive together. The people here have been looking forward to having a large carnivore in the landscape, because it's going to improve their livelihoods through ecotourism. The land prices, since the Project Cheetah has come into being, and it's happening in the sense the Supreme Court has given a go-ahead, have shot up 20 times. So the real estate has gone up, the enthusiasm in the communities living around has gone up, because ecotourism creates a lot of opportunity for jobs related to resorts, tourism related to vehicles which are rented out. We have a very unique system in India where tourists are not allowed to take their own vehicles into the national park, but you have to rent out a 4-wheel drive which belongs to the community. So that money goes back to the community. The profits shared at the gate receipts, 40% of them are shared with the buffer zone communities. So a lot of revenue is generated from protected areas, which is shared with communities, and that's the incentive which people love to have, and they're looking forward to that. So the enthusiasm level is very high. The cheetah is made into a mascot called Chintu Cheetah, and the mascot is showed over as a cartoon in schools, and the children know about it. There's a good propaganda to tell the local public that there is not a single recorded historical event of a wild cheetah attack on a human being. So if you want to have a carnivore in your neighborhood, cheetah is one of the best to have around. Yes, of course, cheetah would attack small livestock like goats and sheep, but we have built in a nice compensation package, and the animals will be radio collared. So whenever such an incident happens, the farmer would be paid compensation immediately, and that would sort of reduce negative interactions and repercussions which would result in persecution. So that's the plan we have, and I think it's a win-win situation. Ecosystem restoration, people are happy, the plethora of biodiversity will also be benefited by the cheetah reintroduction.
We are delighted to be working with Government of Namibia on this very important project, a very special project which we are calling the Cheetah Project. Now, as you know perhaps that India has a very rich diversity of flora and fauna, which included cheetah. Cheetah used to roam India's wild till recent times, but it went extinct after our independence in 1952. So we are trying to get cheetah back to India. That will help us fill a void, a gap which was created in our ecosystems. But we are also mindful that all the additional resources and protection that will go into designated areas where cheetah will come back will also help all other species. So we are very excited about it because conservation is not only a high priority for Government of India and for the people of India, but we also have a civilizational ethos of protecting our natural resources and our wild animals. In that context, we signed a very important agreement, a landmark agreement with Government of Namibia for overall conservation of wildlife and sustainable utilization of biodiversity. And this cheetah project forms part of that agreement. Under this agreement, we envisage that we will be able to send a few cheetahs from Namibia to India to repopulate and some of our designated areas. Now, Namibia is a wonderful partner because it's called the cheetah capital of the world, and Namibia also has its own very strong credential, very strong conservation systems and values in place, and we also learn to benefit from that by learning with Namibia on how to protect these wonderful, precious creatures. We are currently working to ensure that all the procedures and all the requirements are in place before the cheetahs are actually sent to India. I may add that this project has a very special significance for all Indians because this is a special year where we are observing and celebrating 75 years of India's independence. So all Indians are very excited to receive these cheetahs, whom we fondly call as goodwill ambassadors of Namibia, not just to India, but to the entire world. A lot of research has gone into this project to prepare for this stage over the past many years, and now people are finally waiting to welcome the first cheetahs into India in coming days.
2009 conference, I was then invited to Kuno and in Madhya Pradesh to look at an area that they had identified which could be perfect for the cheetah. And it was very good. Good prey populations, good habitat. It looked like it could be a perfect place to bring the cheetahs back. And did a full master plan along that and shared that obviously with the government, which is why I was there to do that. This is the area that now has been identified where the cheetahs are going to be reestablished. The government has made their plans, and with that they have asked that I be a part of this on a consulting basis and working together as a cheetah specialist just to try to advise in the best ways to go forward with this. There will be eyes from around the world watching, and from that, every step of the way, we have to do the best that we possibly can. Reintroduction of an animal is not for, as we say, Bambi lovers. It's harsh, it's hard. And we as humans have to be there to guide the animals the best that we possibly can. So identifying the right animals is also a very important thing. And so we've worked with our government of Namibia, and this is a Namibian government to Indian government present gift, relationship working together. And we've been asked to help advise which animals would be the best, which could go into the reintroduction program. So from our standpoint, we're pleased that things might be finally coming together, and we may be able to see some successes, we hope, in the near future. So the animals that we have helped identify are animals that we have been radio collaring for a period of time. And with that, we have to bring them into a quarantine situation. So we've had to bring the animals from the wild in and then hold them. And then with that, they have to go through an entire veterinary check, again, be quarantined for a period of time before they're transported to India. With that, we've had to develop transport boxes, which are officially recognized by the airport airlines, which there are rules along that as well. The veterinarian checks have to come from our Namibian state veterinarian, and then approved, and then go to the Ministry of Environment, Forestry, and Tourism. And then they will process what's called the CITES permit. And that is a permit that gives the legal global permit to go from one country to another. And each one of these cats, although wild, have been tracked for most all of their life. And so they are used to a tracking car, radio receiver, they've got collars on. So they are aware of that, the cheetahs are. And with that, they know Bart and Eli, who have been tracking them most of their lives. So Bart and Eli know a lot about them, and to be able to share that and teach the Indian researchers and forest management staff what it's like to be around cheetahs. Of course, they're not going to eat you like a tiger could or a leopard could. They are shy, and with that, you can work easily with them if you know how to. And so that's a lot of what our job is to be kind of the animal management side. There shouldn't be a lot of medical issues that are needed on this. The main thing is to get the animals comfortable, hunting, and starting to play a role in the ecosystem there.